How to overcome alcoholism or indeed any addiction in just 3 steps. These are the very same steps I utilize with my clients. In this video, I'll explain the power of expectation. Step 1. How is it that when you decide to quit a habit or go on a diet or make a resolution of some sort, even though you believe that this time, you mean it, how is it you still find yourself just some weeks later, or sometimes even days or hours later, giving in to the urge? You know you need to quit. You know that what you are currently doing doesn't work, that it's bad for you, and likely going to cause you a lot of pain, heartache, and loss. Yet you continue. What causes those cravings? Why can't you just quit? Why do you feel so helpless? Well, going back to whatever that activity is that you want to quit, as you indulged more and more frequently, it became an unconscious habit. That is one which occurs without any real control or conscious thought on your behalf. Basically, the brain unconsciously looks after it for you. And it does this through 2 neurochemical systems in our brain called the dopamine system and the opiate system. As you may know, the dopamine motivates us, and the opiate rewards us for satisfying those biological urges. Think of this as our expectation circuitry. We desire reward or pleasure. We are motivated to satisfy the urge. This creates the craving. We then get emotionally aroused. All natural and fine. We are designed this way so that we evolve and learn as humans. As without motivation, we would stagnate. Normally, this process ends, though, with satisfaction, the reward, pleasure. Not so with addiction, though, as the reward is always just one more expectation away. The problem with any addiction is that it hijacks this process for its own ulterior motive. This is because the addictive behavior is a substitute for emotional needs that are not being met. So rather than a natural high from the pleasure of achieving or learning, we are chasing an artificial high, an expectation of some wonderful, illusory satisfaction that comes with that next drink, that next smoke, the next hit, all promised thanks to the dopamine rush that lets you believe the reward is coming. Remember, this is the motivating chemical after all. It's just doing its job. But surely, given that the expected satisfaction never happens, and instead we wake up with a sore head and an empty wallet, you would think we would learn not to do it again. Well, that's where it gets tricky, as we have a tendency to have what is termed euphoric recall when it comes time for those cravings again. What do I mean? Well, addiction is sneaky. It needs to fool you into getting the dopamine hit again. So it has a tendency to recall things a lot better than they actually were last time you indulged, got drunk, high, binge ate, or whatever the case may be. It wants you to believe how much fun you had, how you were maybe less anxious, how it calmed you down, how it helped you to socialize easier, etc. So it exaggerates, in other words, the positives of your addictive behavior and hides the negatives, the hangovers, the arguments with your partner, the time off work, etc. But interestingly, this is why expectation is such a powerful weapon for beating addiction. Knowing how addiction hijacks our expectation pathway to its benefit, now all we have to do is reverse that same process and use it to our benefit. How? As I said, reversing, by doing the opposite. So our job then is to reprogram the way this pathway operates. And we do this by accentuating the positive expectations of not indulging in our habit. And of course, the very real and painful negative expectations if we do indulge. But this is not simply a matter of positive thinking, far from it. This is about behavior change. And the only way we can do that is through our emotions. You see, it's the emotions that give the energy to behavior change. There needs to be strong feelings behind the new behavior. We already know that our addiction is making us sick and costing us in many other areas of our life, but that has never stopped us before. See, that's our rational mind. We think we all know what we should be doing. However, it's a habit, and it happens unconsciously without our rational mind even getting a look in. So we need to trigger the emotional response to our habit. And that's, using our feelings, not our thoughts. We need to feel disgusted, ashamed, guilty, afraid of the consequences of not changing. Importantly, we also need to inversely strongly feel hope, confidence, excitement, and happy about how good our future life will be without this crutch that is literally preventing you from being who you are meant to be. In other words, you need to really feel the pain you get from your addiction and the pleasure you will feel from quitting. This is when the new behaviors sustainably replace the old ones. Without painful withdrawals, without fear of relapse, you are in control and it feels good. You expect positive things to happen. And now your dopamine pathway motivates you to make them happen. This is how life is meant to be. So expectation, you're already using it. You have to use it to sustain your addiction or indeed any other perceived need you have. Now you can use it to make positive behavior changes. Or you can continue to allow your addiction to hijack it to get its own way. So now it's your call. You can continue doing what you've always done, but what is that ultimately going to cost you? You have the tools available to beat this. You just need to learn how to use them. In the next video, I'll explain step 2. That's transforming our lifestyle so as to make the addiction obsolete. In the meantime, reach out if you need help, and please share so that this message can help others. Cheers, guys. Till next time.